Wolverine issue 45. This was a fun read, and it's one of those ones where there's an over arc going on, and it sort of builds up into the next issue. But nonetheless, that doesn't detract that this is still an entertaining book. So let's go ahead and dive in. The print date on this was September 1991. Claws over Times Square. This is Larry Hama's script. Breakdowns by Marc Silvestri. Finishes Dan Green lettering. Yep, Dan Brosseau. Coloring Steve Buccellato. Editor Bob Harris and Tom DeFalco. Editor in chief. As you can see already, huge names on this title. Midtown Manhattan. Hey, I'm not really following you or anything. Saw the story in the 6 o'clock news, and I remember what you told me about what happened up in Canada. I was just like hoping maybe you weren't gonna do something you might regret in the morning. I take my regrets out every night and dump them in the trash, Jubilee. You look like you're planning something, Wolverine. And this cover, just absolutely beautiful. The way Logan's just looking over Manhattan, and Jubilee's just kind of in the background, having that Robin-esque look, which is what Claremont was trying to go for with the sidekick look. This is the X-Men that we knew from these guys. So essentially, this billionaire has captured this creature, and it's just not sitting right with Logan. I'm not planning anything, Jube. There's just something wild inside me, pulling at me to do things I don't understand. I can't figure it. It's like trying to explain desire. What's gotten into you lately? Leave me alone, darling. And he just takes off. And she's like, I can't follow you down there. That's the point, darling. And I miss dynamic angles like this. Because, I mean, look at how everything's just kind of shuffled up. We get these lovely Dutch angles, these lovely yellows to illuminate downtown Manhattan. And without really going into like exposition dumping like some modern comics do, we see how Wolverine's feeling. And as he's going further down, she's like, listen to me, Wolverine. And the way the story unfolds visually, because this is a visual medium, you see Logan's upset about something. And slowly but surely, this billboard comes in and goes, he's real, he's alive, only at Park View and Atlantic. Whatever crazy clawed critter bounding you feel towards this thing, Ronald Parkview hadn't done anything wrong as far as the law's concerned. I know that, Jubilee. He has every right in the world to spend his millions on a big hunting expedition to Canada to bring it back alive. Probably got himself a medal for riding Buffalo Wood National Park of a man-killing menace. He has the right to use the hunter in darkness as an attraction to this lure suckers into his casinos. And so that's sort of the over arc. Now, this is supposed to be an appearance, I think a first appearance, I can't remember off the top of my head, but we just see this woman. And I love how the visuals here, just we see the nose of a gun, click, 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 and she's just very slowly popping in the rounds into the magazine here. Slight down angle, easily compensated for. Bunting isn't moving. Crosswinds, this should be a turkey shoot. So we're thinking, whoa, what's going on? And so we essentially have an A, B, and a C plot. We got Logan with the main premise with the creature from the Parkview guy. We have this assassin. And then we have Albert in the bowels of the Morlock Alley. You just wait and see, Elsie-Dee. You're going to have a new, better body that's 10 times better than the one you had built before. Stronger, faster, more options, auxiliary databanks, high drive monitors, just third generation passive night vision. That all takes too much power, Albert. Not even molten salt high density batteries can store enough to power all that fits inside my Whittle flame. The only thing about Elsie-Dee is, I know she's supposed to be a little girl, but she kind of has that like Whittle me that does get a little obnoxious. But these two characters are great because on the surface, other than Albert looking like Wolverine, they seem relatively kind of harmless and kind of odd, but they can give you a run for your money because of the cyborg, because they were built by Donald Pierce. How much power do they need? They all diverted all of our power cables into this lab. This ain't right. 86 of them, mask. Show him the gate. Shut up. You haven't seen him rip and tear. You haven't gazed into his fluorescent eyes. And so you're just kind of wondering what's going on there. And what I love is even though they have these machinations going like, meanwhile, it essentially ties together. And that's what I've always loved about Larry Hama's writing. This is Larry Hama, right? Sorry, I haven't had enough coffee today. Yeah, Larry Hama. Sorry, guys. And again, this character, who the hell is she? And then we see Sabretooth enters the fray. So it's sort of funny in a sense because he's like, hand it over, lady. My connection ain't got all day. Don't worry, Queenie. Mommy won't let the bad man hurt you. Just give me the purse. And all of a sudden, crack, snaps, crunch. Hush, Queenie. The nice man just saved us from the nasty old crazed drug fiend. Terribly gallant of you. Give me your name and address. I'll have my manager send you a nice check. Whap! The name's Sabretooth, and I don't take no checks. So again, we're introducing Sabretooth in this story arc and how much heartless and evil. And then we get the introspective moment with Logan. Maybe Jubilee is right. Could be them setting myself up for a big fall by letting the wilderness and me get the upper hand. But there must be a reason why I can't shake the feeling that there's some real strong link between me and this thing that's captured up in Buffalo Woods. So as we see all these characters enter the fray and we see Logan's mindset, we just feel this powder keg happening. And then, of course, the reveal. Now, what threw me, and I couldn't find any information because this book, 1991, it predates X-Men the Animated Series. But here it goes. You pencil neck geek, there's a hero type person coming through on urgent business. Look. And then we see this guy just kind of looking and he goes, that's a familiar costume. But aren't you supposed to be dead? And so to me, this felt a little mucky because at first this character to me just looked kind of like Morph, and I thought maybe they're doing like a reversal role, not into the animated series, but that hadn't come out yet. So I'm just like, okay. So then I thought, well, maybe this has something to do with sort of the joke, like maybe an Easter egg towards Fall of the Mutants when the X-Men died on live TV. But that still doesn't make sense because Jubilee wasn't with them. It was the Australian X-Men. It was Longshot, Dazzler, Colossus, Psylocke, Storm, Logan. Jubilee didn't come onto the scene until later when she saved Wolverine from Pierce and the Reavers. So if you guys can kind of help me out with that, let me know. And then we finally meet the Purview character, and we realize that his gal Friday is Lady Deathstrike. Once you get experience the wonders of biotech improved life forms, you can't ever go back to the plain stuff. Yeah, I'm impressed, Yukio. But right now I have to get back to my first love, making money. Am I rolling? And so we see he's very much that type of douchebag. And then, of course, after we felt this powder cake building up, what Albert is doing with Elsie-Dee is sort of what lights the fuse. Because as Parview goes to introduce the creature, all of Manhattan goes black. The creature gets shot. And essentially what happens as the book comes to an end, as we get through all the ads, which we will be talking about here in a second. Look at that cover. That is beautiful by Art Thibert. I miss spreadsheets like that, or splash pages like that. Good stuff. Anyway, let's get back. Where is it? It puts Wolverine in the crosshairs of Sabretooth, Lady Deathstrike, and this creature that is now. So again, it's a build-up issue, but I love it because it builds up the suspense and it makes you want to go back and read what happened last issue and what's been kind of building up to this. And of course, the next issue to see Wolverine duke it out with two of his oldest foes, with the Jubilee kind of in. Now, with this ad, one thing I wanted to add is I'm always kind of, I can't say bashing, but I'll talk about how I get real tired of like the meta humor in comics nowadays, where it just feels too much on the nose or it just doesn't land. I miss old She-Hulk because John Byrne just knew how to take meta humor and make it fun and not eye rolling or cringe. Like on this cover where they're introducing his run from 31 to 33, she ends up in the Morlock tunnels and she goes, I knew I should have taken that left turn at Albuquerque. And I mean, I know it's a little dated. It's a Bugs Bunny joke, obviously. And I personally find it funny because I'm from New Mexico and I lived in Albuquerque for a long time. So that always made me laugh when I hear it. But I miss comic humor like this where, yeah, there's times where you would roll your eyes and you go, ugh, because you kind of feel dad jokey, but it wasn't all the time. You'd actually kind of get So anyway, I just wanted to point that out. Saw that, loved it. Wolverine 45. It's again, I say this a lot words. It's not a key issue. Well, it's the first appearance of this character. I can't remember what her name is off the top of my head. If you guys can, help me down in the comments. But it's not like this big first reveal or the 1/1000th of 1,000,000,000 variants or the big event. It's just a good. And as I always say, at the end of the day, that's what's important in comics. Is it entertaining? Does it have the characters you love? Do the characters feel like they're supposed to fill? That's everything that we get with Wolverine issue 45. So if you've enjoyed what you've seen, please first and foremost support your local comic shop or where there's these action figures and comics and pick up this era Wolverine. This is what I grew up with, and this is what I still love to this day. If you've enjoyed this review, really would appreciate if you take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel more than you could possibly know. And if you won't mind hitting that fancy knucklehead bell next, subscribe. That was I get Dibble content. You guys get notified. Come to the channel, and I love talk with you and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments or the socials, which I'll make sure the links down in the description. So with all that said, hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, everyone.